2 weeks ago, President Bush toured the Southwest and promised to spend more than ever before to stop illegal immigrants from crossing our 2,000-mile border with Mexico. It's not the first time a president has pledged to do that. In the early 90s, the Clinton administration also vowed to tighten the U.S.-Mexican border. Since then, the U.S. government has tripled the budget for border control, spending a small fortune on surveillance technology, not to mention thousands of additional Border Patrol agents. All of that was supposed to make it harder for illegal immigrants to cross over in cities and towns along the border, and it did. So why are some of the same people who designed the strategy now saying it's been a huge waste of taxpayers' money? Because it's done nothing to stop migrants from coming here illegally. What it has done, they say, is to force those migrants to cross remote and treacherous stretches of desert where many are dying.
Bravo 3-1, Bravo 7, you copy direct.
The death toll is so high, the Border Patrol now has a special unit whose only job is to help migrants in trouble. Officer Garrett Neubauer has just received a distress call about 20 miles north of the border in southern Arizona.
What we had is a person walked out to one of the roads, flagged down some agents, waved him down, and stated that he had left his friend out in the desert.
The migrant they're looking for is an 18-year-old Mexican named Abran Gonzalez, who's been wandering in the desert for 7 days. Agents have narrowed the search area and have found one of his shoes.
That's what we're looking for, and that's why I wanted to see his shoe, was just kind of get an idea of what his other shoe looks like, so I know what I'm looking for on the ground. It sounds to me like he's out of it. He's dehydrated. His condition's going downhill, so he's probably not thinking rationally.
Agent Neubauer has good reason to be concerned. We took a first-hand look at the paths taken by migrants through the desert this summer when temperatures hovered above 100 degrees for weeks at a time. This year, the Border Patrol has reported a record 464 deaths. But by all accounts, the number is much higher because of bodies that haven't been found. Dr. Bruce Parks is Tucson's medical examiner. How long have you been here?
17 years.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No.
There are so many bodies they won't fit in the vaults in the coroner's morgue. When we visited, Dr. Parks had found a place to put an extra 60 bodies.
So this is the refrigerated truck that we've had to rent at the cost of $1,000 a week.
Because you don't have enough room in there for the bodies, you have to put them in here?
Right.
12 years ago, things were very different. Back then, no migrants died in the desert. That's because it was easier to come in through American cities along the border. Too easy, according to Mark Reed, who was the top immigration official in San Diego.
When I got there, our inspectors were hiding in the inspection booths for fear of stepping out and being run over, literally trampled by people running through the port of entry itself and through the booths and where the cars were, over the top of immigration inspectors if necessary.
How many would come at one time?
There were groups of 500 people running up the southbound lanes of I-5.
These pictures are from back then. The migrants had figured out that if there were enough of them, most of them could get through. The stampedes occurred with such frequency that they became a public relations embarrassment to government officials. The Clinton administration decided something had to be done. Huge metal walls went up, high-tech surveillance systems were purchased, and they did seal off major cities along the border, but not the mountains and desert in between. Mark Reed helped shape the strategy.
We thought the mountains and the desert were going to be our friends in terms of this strategy. We thought that that would deter entry through those places, and that those would be places that we would not have to worry about.
Because it was so difficult to get through there?
So difficult to get through there, and so long, and so expensive. It turned out to be our Achilles heel.
Because that's exactly where they went.
It's where the smugglers took them.
In this remote stretch of desert across from New Mexico, we met a smuggler and 11 young men preparing to enter the United States. The men rubbed garlic on their pants and shoes to ward off snakes. Then they crossed a 3-foot barbed wire fence, each one carrying 2 gallons of water. Nowhere near enough for a journey that could take 5 or 6 days. This year, about 500,000 illegal migrants will come from Mexico to live and work in the U.S., about twice as many as came before the border was fortified.
It actually encouraged more people to enter the country, because what we did is we took away the ability of a worker to come into the country and cross back and forth fairly freely. So they started bringing their families in and actually domiciling in the United States with their entire family, because they knew they couldn't go back and forth.
More than 20% of the deaths in the desert this year were women and children. The Border Patrol recorded 1.1 million arrests this year, but often it's the same people being arrested over and over again. That's according to T.J. Bonner, who is the head of the Border Patrol Agents Union.
I have caught the same group of people 4 times in one 8-hour shift.
4 times in one 8-hour shift?
4 times.
So you send them back, they try to come in another way?
When I looked in the record log the next day, their names weren't there. So I can only assume that they got bias on the 5th time.
Fortified fences like this one in Nogales, Arizona, protect only about 5% of the U.S.-Mexican border. If you look at the total number of illegal migrants coming into the country, do you think that the number is more or less since this barrier went up?
It's more.
So if more people are coming in today than were coming in before the fence went up, then all of the millions of dollars that went into building this thing is a waste of money.
I think that's a fair assessment.
The U.S. government has spent about $20 billion on border control over the past 12 years. But Republican Congressman Tom Tancredo insists the problem is that's just not enough. He's sponsoring a bill that calls for more agents to remove illegal migrants where they work and to vastly increase border security.
If you only put the fence, for this 5 miles of the border, people will go around it naturally. You have to secure your borders.
So you would recommend sealing off the entire border, building fences all along the border?
Absolutely.
How much more should we spend?
Whatever it takes.
Billions more?
Billions more. Billions more. Ed, why not? It is our job. It is what the federal government should be doing.
The University of California's Wayne Cornelius, a national authority on immigration, predicted 10 years ago that no matter what the government does to fortify the border, Mexican workers will still keep coming, as long as there are jobs here for them.
They can earn more in an hour of work in the United States than they could in an entire day in Mexico, if they had a job.
It's very clear that we're telling them not to come, and it should be very clear to them that if they do come through the desert, they're breaking the law.
But we're sending them a very mixed message. The message that we're sending them is, if you can get past the obstacle course at the border, you're essentially home free. You have pretty much unrestricted access to our labor market, and there are employers out there eager for your labor.
About 6 million illegal migrants are now working in the U.S. The meatpacking industry is one of the many that rely on illegal immigrant labor. 7 years ago, the Immigration Service cracked down on illegal migrants in plants in Nebraska and Iowa. Mark Reed was in charge of the operation.
What we did is we pulled together the meatpacking industry in the states of Nebraska and Iowa and brought them into Washington and told them that we were not going to allow them to hire any more unauthorized workers. Within 30 days, over 3,500 people fled the meatpacking industry in Nebraska.
So this was a huge success then. I mean, you had thousands of illegal immigrants leaving.
We proved that the government, without doubt, had the capacity to deny employment to unauthorized workers.
What happened next?
We were invited to leave Nebraska by the same delegation that invited us in. Bottom line issue was, please leave our state before you ruin our economy.
You set up a program that results in thousands of illegal workers leaving.
Yes.
And the government officials that invite you in tell you to stop?
The reason for that is that by putting that factory out of business, not only do we put the unauthorized workers out of business, but we put United States citizens out of business, and we had the potential to destroy an entire community.
The bottom line, though, seems to be that this illegal workforce is important to our economy.
It's essential to our economy.
So what are the taxpayers getting for the billions and billions of dollars that have been spent on securing the border?
Getting a good story.
But not a secure border.
do not have a secure border.
The latest attempt to secure the Mexican border is this $14 million pilotless drone, which scans the desert for intruders and potential terrorists. Fear of terrorism is the latest reason that large bipartisan majorities in Congress have voted to increase the Border Patrol's budget.
This represents another step in our nation's response to possible terrorists seeking entry into the United States.
There are national security implications to porous borders. There really are. I mean, people who are coming into this country and who want to come into this country for very nefarious purposes, not to just come here to work at the 7-Eleven. No, they're coming for other purposes.
How many terrorists have we caught on the Mexican border?
0.
Then maybe you could say that building all of these walls and fortifications and having thousands of border agents does work as a deterrent.
They don't need to come in that way. They can purchase the best forged documents in the world. The real danger is that they will come through our legal ports of entry with valid visas, just like the 9/11 terrorists did.
Good.
There are now 11,000 Border Patrol agents, 3 times as many as there were 12 years ago. Only 100 of them are assigned to find illegal migrants where they work. Nearly all spend their time making arrests and dropping migrants off on the Mexican side of the border.
Talk with anybody that may have been arrested out there in the desert. They'll tell you, number one, I'm just coming here to get a job because you have a job to give me and you want me to be here for that job. I'm not doing anything really wrong. That America wants me.
In the Arizona desert, Border Patrol agent Neubauer gets word 18-year-old Abron Gonzalez, who'd been wandering in the desert for 7 days, has been found.
I have approximately 18-year-old male laying flat on his back.
Abron Gonzalez had died of thirst just a few hours earlier.
It's hard to know that maybe you could have been out there to help this person and just weren't able to. But it's something that you have to deal with and move on.
Gonzalez came from this small town in southern Mexico. He'd gone to the U.S. to earn enough money to buy a new tin roof for his parents' house. The parents had borrowed $300 for Abron to make the trip, money the parents still owe.
Here he is as a boy when he was 12 years old.
His cousin Casimiro Manuel was the first to be told.
The man from the consulate called and told me they found Abron in the Arizona desert, and he was dead. He was a quiet kid. He never hurt anybody. He just wanted to work and come back home.
The immigration issue poses a major political dilemma for President Bush, in part because the Republican Party is split over what to do. Some party leaders prefer a get-tough approach along the border, while many business-oriented Republicans say the economy needs migrant workers. President Bush is now offering a solution to please both: a drastic increase in spending to tighten the border and the largest ever guest worker program.